Hi, I'm Ed Kelly, editor of the Oklahoman. What does a Democratic Washington mean for the Republicans? To help answer that question is Mark Green, national editorial writer for the Oklahoman, based in Washington, D.C. Mark is here in Oklahoma City for a few days, decompressing after the national elections. Okay, Mark, this was by all means a disastrous election for Republicans in Washington. Looks like now they have maybe only 40 seats or so in the Senate. They lost another 20 seats or so in the House. Just how deep of a minority will they be come January?
Well, it's a very deep minority in the House. You're talking about 80 seats. House minorities historically and logistically don't do well anyway, and they're in a deep hole there. In the Senate, the Democrats are very close to 60 votes, which is the key level of support that you need to shut off filibusters, which is a procedural blocking device in the Senate. You got two races that are still outstanding: the runoff in Georgia, Saxby Chambliss, the Republican there, trying to survive, and you got a recount in Minnesota with Norm Coleman, the incumbent Republican, trying to survive against Al Franken. Conceivably, they could have 60 votes, which means they will not need to have any Republican support, at least theoretically, to get legislation through the Senate. So that's a deep, deep hole.
Deep hole. What should congressional Republicans then do between now and the midterm elections in just 2 years in 2010 if they're going to be effective against both the Democratic White House and a Democratic majority in the Congress?
Well, I think it's a tightrope act that they have to try to walk here. They have to pick their spots to be principally opposed to bad ideas. Absolutely. But they've also got to, in the next couple of years, I think, to develop an affirmative message. They have to come up with something that Republicans are for, a clear message, a clear agenda that they can take out to the campaign trail in 2010 and try to get back some of these seats that they've lost.
Let's go a little closer to home then and talk about Tom Cole. Been in the Congress now for 6 years or more. He's been the head of the Republicans' campaign committee for House members, but he decided not to run for another term just yesterday. What's the significance of this campaign committee, and what's the significance of Cole's decision to step down?
Well, the committee that he has headed is the main fundraising and strategizing committee for the Republican Party for House members. And it's a key visibility post in their leadership. Cole typically has raised tons of money and helped distribute that to different races across the country. So leaving that post is damaging for him in terms of moving up in the House leadership. However, as the Oklahoman's reporting this morning, Chris Castile, our colleague, reporting, he is promised a seat on the Appropriations Committee, which is a powerful post in the structure of the House. Responsible for appropriating funds, federal funds, to all kinds of projects. So Cole, on the one hand, is taking a step back in the campaign committee, but perhaps some of that will be made up for by taking another high-profile post on the Appropriations Committee.
And it's the first time I think Oklahoma has had a seat on the Appropriations Committee since Ernest Istook left a couple of years ago.
That's right. I mean, in the mechanics of the House, when they get down to dividing up the federal pie, the appropriators, the members of the Appropriations Committee, have tremendous pull deciding where that money goes. So it is an important post, probably not as high or visible a post as the one he's had. But it's been a rough couple of years. He said that it was the worst environment for Republicans since Watergate, 25 years ago or whatever. And it's hard to see how anyone could have done any better. Cole maybe takes a bullet for the team because it's just time for them to change because of the rough results they had, but it's hardly his fault.
Okay, Mark, well done. Stay here on News OK for more coverage of national politics and for more commentary from our own Mark Green.